Class. Well, in terms of inspiration then, we'll move on to our next section where we'll look at, which is what I'm very excited about this week, is looking at our listener song submissions. And I'm going to say that there's a bit of a Scotland versus England kind of championship going on here between the first and the third song.
Right,
So
okay. Well,
I think we might give you a run for your money here with the first one, which...
it is a class song.
Oh, it's a brilliant track in it. So these guys are called the Eves. They're from Scotland, and this song is called Love Will Find You. I'll let them introduce themselves, check out some of the track, and then we'll give it a wee review. What do we say?
Let's go.
Let's do it.
Hi, we're the Eves. This is our single, Love Will Find You.
You can let it go and don't be alone in the darkness. Looking for the light. Nothing's ever easy. It's hard to get it right. Oh, love will never leave you. Always on your side. Even if you run, even if you hide, love will find you.
Yes, love that.
Oh, mate.
Love that.
It's just the
Just
vocal
quality.
the vocal compression on that is so perfectly done
Yeah.
that it brings the breaths forward but doesn't bring too much forward. And I just think it's fantastic what they've done there. And
Yeah.
kudos to you guys, the Eves, because not only is the production amazing, but the songwriting is fantastic. And one of the notes that I've written down is sometimes all you need is a pause to create suspense.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to as you know, as songwriters and producers, musicians, we just want to pack so much of everything into this one moment. But just before the chorus kicks in there, it's like, love will find you. And it goes like, that pause there creates so much
suspension.
And it makes the chorus seem huge. And again, it's really, really well produced. I especially like there's like funk guitar stabs in the chorus there, just behind everything. You wouldn't notice it unless you really listen to it, but damn, it makes the world a difference.
Yeah. So I'm totally the same. I just think really, really well mixed song, incredibly clean, professionally polished. What I loved, the main takeaway I got is the powerful lyrics. So, you know, you've got that kind of uplifting strength, empathy lyrics. And then you've got this kick drum that comes in and really just drives that strength when they kind of get to the kind of whoa bit, you know, it's
absolutely
fantastic. And I love the kind of what the listener hasn't kind of heard is the full track where you've got this very country style vocalist in the verse and the chorus, but then this post-chorus kind of drop with the woes is a kind of more EDM commercial pop kind of fusion, isn't it? So that for me, I was like, oh, I'm really liking the way it's kind of coming together. And what I really loved from a production point is it's a bit like your funk guitar stabs in the chorus. I really like, there's this really subtle reverb delayed woe effect. So on her main woe line in the drop, there's a kind of couple of milliseconds later woe with a long reverb, which just is beautiful, just to decorate that that kind of depth in the mix. So if you go back and listen to that, anyone that's listening, pay particular attention to that, because that's a really clever thing that's been added in there.
Yeah, definitely. I think like as you said, that just to kind of echo the woe vocal production, from a songwriting point of view, that production is used in a songwriting sense. That enhances the song. That's not to make anything sound better in terms of you'd add some EQ and compression to the kick to make it punch like it does. But this is something that they've added after, and I don't know if they produced it or whoever their producer is, but it's just a testimony to every songwriter that doesn't know what producer to go to, just to do your research and listen to little things like this, and definitely always take examples to a producer and say, you see this effect here. I don't know how they've done it, but I'd love to add it somehow.
Get me that.
I now know what they're talking about. So, I mean, I know we want to add some kind of critique in every kind of every song we get. So there wasn't really much I could say other than just with my personal taste, I would have chosen a different snare sample for the verses. That's it.
Cool.
And that's just my personal taste. There's nothing
I'm sure they would take that, listening to that. I mean, we're wanting for this podcast to get some sort of, not necessarily like a negative critique or anything, but
absolutely
we want to give the listener something like, it's not just me and Tom sitting here going, oh yeah, that was brilliant. Oh yeah, that was brilliant. We want to give you where we do feel like improvement could have been made, you know, a bit of honesty there. Certainly when I send my mixes to other people, I say, look, don't hold back. If you can tell me how bad, like not how bad it is, obviously you don't want to ever be disrespectful or encourage that, but if you can just tell me, look, where are my points that you feel I could improve on? Because sometimes when you're too close to a mix or a song, you don't hear those things. So yeah, in that spirit, for me, I would have preferred a tad more of the background vocals just to really broaden out that vocal hook impact. I felt like the background vocals were just a wee bit too quiet in the hard left and rights. But, you know, that is again subjective and a personal taste. So, but overall, amazing track. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to happen, isn't it? Like, as we said last week, there's always going to be things about your music that other people would come and maybe just change slightly. And that's the beauty of working with other musicians, and they do things slightly differently. And that's how I learned a lot of what I do. I mean, you just watch and learn, and
that's the way the cookie crumbles.
That's the way the cookie crumbles. But yeah, again, like just to echo what Andy said, we don't want to come in here and act big-headed and like nothing is negative here. I love this kind of stuff on anything I write or produce. I love people saying, well, have you thought about going this route with it? And that's all this is. This is just a great example of that. But you guys, that is an amazing song.
Top notch.
Definitely adding it to my playlist, let me tell you.
So it's out now, guys, so you can go check that out. And now we'll move on to the next submission, which is going from Scotland all the way to Quebec, Canada, which is class. So we've got a French lassie here called Genevive, I believe. Geneviève. Oh, pardon. So,
bonjour.
Oui. So hopefully she appreciates some French that we're given there. But basically, this is her submission. It's a very different track. It's called The Last Song.
Hi everyone, this is Geneviève Paré from Quebec, Canada, and it's a real pleasure for me to introduce you to my first release single, The Last Song.
We're going to leave again. That's the best you can do. I swear it's the last time I'll sing about you.
Oh, it's heart-wrenching, isn't it? Like,
my God, I feel like I want to have a big greet now, which means cry in Scottish.
I just want to say that I want to start this off by saying that I think Geneviève is incredibly talented. She's written a song in her second language that can make people that speak English as their first language feel so much and
cry.
It's such a beautiful song, so well written. The piano is amazingly played, and it reminds me a little bit of a song from Toy Story 2 called When Somebody Loved Me by Sarah McLachlan.
That is a brilliant
song.
And
it's the same kind of thing. It's so emotional, and her vocal performance is so emotional. And I just think this is a wonderfully written song. The chord progression is outstanding. It immediately drew me in when I first listened to it. I just wanted to hear more. And this is the song that I've had on repeat all day because it's just incredible. I can't believe how talented she is to write in English. And
totally.
When I was speaking to Geneviève and she made the submission, she was quite worried about her English and how it comes across, but she speaks wonderful English, and as you
She
can
sings
hear,
wonderful English, yeah.
and I'm sure she speaks wonderful French.
Yeah.
But the lyrics are just so good for like,
Yeah, totally.
it's so good. And again, it just adds so much depth. There's so much depth to just piano and vocal. And again, I'll say this over and over again, as songwriters and musicians and producers, you just want to pack on stuff. Like it would have been very easy for her to say, I'd love a drum beat behind it, or can we just add some acoustic guitar? But the fact that it's just piano and vocal makes it so deep and so emotional. I love it. And
Hashtag deep. Hashtag
deep. And again, like the only thing that I'd say from a producer point of view is I would just go in there and clean up the piano around 250 hertz, just duck out a little bit just to make a little bit more room for, the expression on the vocal. But you would never tell, unless you were a producer, you would never sit down and listen to that and think, there's something missing. It's a beautiful, beautiful song. One of my favorite songs I've heard in a while, actually.
Yeah, totally.
I'm just delighted that Geneviève has made that submission, and I'm glad that we're friends now. So
yeah, massively thanks for sending that. I absolutely loved checking out this track. Just like Thomas said, I loved the raw emotion just instantly comes across by your vocal performance. I love the fact that it's actually not overproduced or like it's not perfect. You can hear some very slight imperfections in the vocal mix, but honestly, this is only a positive for me because it enhances the rawness of the emotion that is coming from her, her vocal, timbre, and it's fantastic. I've really, really been blown away by this track. I love as well the particular moment where the dynamics just draw back as she sings that last line. And it's just, you just feel like, you just feel like, I just want to cry now.
Yeah, you just want a hug.
I just need a hug, man. But no, in all seriousness, absolutely brilliant song. And I was exactly like Tom. He's stolen my critique element there because I'd also written down, for me, the piano just around about the 200 to 250 hertz region could have just been ducked a couple of dB just to clean up the mix ever so slightly. But again, to echo Tom, we are being very kind of critical there if we're going down that alleyway. So really, really great job. Really great job.
Fantastic.
So we've heard the Scottish tune. Can Scotland reign victorious in this episode, Tom, against England? Because we are next up with one of, I think, the nicest guys I see on Instagram, a guy called Marcii, who comes across like such a gentleman, and he sent us this
he's English, mate.
Here.
Of course he does. Of course he's a gentleman.
Right, enough of that. You need to pipe down. So he sent us this track, and it is called I'm Over You, and I will let him introduce that to you guys just now.
This is Marcii introducing I'm Over You, featuring the beautiful vocals of Andrea Kelly. I really hope you enjoy it.
Thank God I didn't see it through. Luckily, I'm over you. Thank God I didn't see it through. Luckily, I'm over you. Thank God I didn't see it through. Luckily, I'm over you. Thank God I didn't see it through. Luckily, I'm over you. The trouble was mine when you know what you did wasn't right.
Yes. What do you think of that, Tom?
Oh yeah, it's just fantastic. I didn't want it to stop, so I was like, don't fade out. Yeah, I just love it. There's something about a shaker and a click and a clap that just makes my hips want to boogie. I really liked the song. Really enjoyed it from the minute one. I loved the kind of, again, and we spoke about it last week about in a track that you've done, Andy, the kind of vocal glitch distortion.
Yeah.
I'd love to know how they actually achieved that. if you're listening, guys.
Yes.
Yeah, wonderful song. I love the use of the synth brass in there, which is typically you don't hear that, and I love the fact that they made that decision. The vocal melody just really catchy, just a catchy tune overall.
Catchy tune. No, absolutely. Completely feeling that, because it makes me think of, like in Bruno Mars' band, when they kind of do this kind of...
Yeah, no, it is a proper
that kind of walkie kind of body thing.
Exactly.
That's what I can imagine the brass band doing to this. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, man, it is. It's just one of those tunes
totally.
that it's just a feel-good song from the minute you hear it. And
when I'm listening, I'm like, grab me a beer, put me on a dance festival floor or a beach for that matter, and let me just dance this one away. Because I'm just instantly in like a tropical house type vibe, bouncing rhythms, broad commercial style, polished vocals, you name it.
Yeah.
It's got it all, isn't it? It's good.
It's just a very nice sounding song. Just extremely pleasant to listen to. You can't really hate a song when it's like that. And again, like with all the submissions we've had, there's nothing bad to say really, other than if I was to get into the weeds with things as a producer, I'd have loved a little bit more width for the chorus, just a little bit. And you can achieve that by just pulling that bass through a little bit more, and that'll just help it, like just with the vibe. But everything is there. There's nothing bad to say. That's just me being hyper critical, and again in a positive way. I still think it's an amazing track. Nothing takes it away from me. I just, I had to get into the weeds with all three of these submissions because they're so good that there's not a lot to say.
It's a good thing we probably want to have. It's a good problem to have, isn't it? Would you add like some like maybe stereo widening effects or something like that? Just ever so slight.
That's the first thing that I thought of, was just like, and you can achieve that very, very easily just with stereo widening plugins. You don't even have to do it, and every company does it. And you wouldn't even have to do much. You could probably find a preset that works, to be honest. But I just like the song. Another one of those songs that I listen to and think, I'm just going to add this to my workout playlist, or my walk playlist. There's something there that just when it comes on, you just think, yep, here we go. I'm into it. I'd
probably be a bit worried if I started putting this on while I was walking down the street, because I would end up just bopping the whole way down, like, yeah. And people would just be looking at me like, who is this absolute idiot?
Well, I mean, you've got the puppy now, so at least you can draw some attention away from yourself.
We can maybe just, I mean, he might make me look cooler.
Exactly. I'd agree.
He probably will.
Yeah, it's not difficult, is it?
No, not difficult. Thank you, mate. Thank you.
But yeah, I just want to... Great song, man. Really, really enjoyed it, and I'm glad you're a Brit, dude.
Yeah, like I loved, man, the vocal chops. So I do vocal chops in my songs, and I particularly appreciate the way that you've added like the movement to it. So it's this kind of spiraling down, glitchy effect. Definitely. And it is so distinctive. I've not came across that kind of effect before. So whatever you've done here, Matt, you've done it very well, because you've created a vocal chop which is a bit unique there, certainly to me anyway. I guess, like for me, with this kind of genre, the only thing critique-wise I would add, as I was expecting a bit more bass punch, a bit more kind of fuzzy bass warmth, maybe kind of in the low-mid area, or certainly a wee bit more kind of sub-frequencies as well. The bass line you can hear, and it's really good actually. It adds to that bop, but just for me it was not as thick as I'd probably want for a kind of tropical house type track. So, but overall, smashed it.
Definitely, yeah, all three of them did. I just can't wait to keep getting submissions in if they're going to be this good.
So will we call it a draw, or is that boring?
Yeah, I'm going to have to give it a draw.
1-1 Scotland versus England.
I can't decide.
To be honest, right, Scotland, if we draw against England, it's pretty much like we've won, isn't it?
It's
Tom?
like a win, yeah. I mean, I'm going to say that
Scotland are that shit usually.
We all won because they're all such great songs, and I mean, we'll leave links in the bio and stuff like that to those songs. We'll be adding it to a playlist of some kind and link into the playlist. Just wonderful, wonderful songs. Can't wait to hear more,
guys. Wonderful work.